Hey everybody, Zealous Talon here again with another video review. This time it is the Power Ranger Samurai Swordfish Zord with Blue Mega Ranger. Um, Forgive me if at any point I go by the Japanese names, it's just kind of what happens with me. But um, as you can see, it's a light blue swordfish. It is assigned to the Blue Ranger, so it comes with a little guy of him. Just like the Tiger and Beetle, he rides on top of them. Um, and he's actually got a rather nice pose to him. I mean, you can't really do anything with him aside from turn his head and turn the wrist. I mean, just like the others, it's a pretty static figure, but I do like the pose for this one a bit more than red and green. And grab those two real quick just to show you. Excuse me. And red doesn't stand at all on his own hardly, but there's the three of them thus far. Still waiting for Squid with Gold to come out. Don't know when that'll be, but according to BBTS, the Clawzord should be out here in July. So hopefully Squid comes around the same time. So anyway, this is obviously based on the Kajiki Origami from Shinkenger. This, I would say, is the most heavily modified out of the three auxiliary mecha we've gotten so far. This is a completely different toy from Kajiki. It retains the basic shape. Much like the Beetle, though, it got slimmed down because they took out the disc and just painted this blue stripe along the side with some ridges. But some other notable changes are they actually gave him a little lower jaw there, which I think is kind of cool. The original toy didn't have that, if I recall correctly. Another nice little touch is that the fins can collapse all the way in if you want to make him look like he's dashing or swimming through the water. Speaking of swimming, the chop chop gimmick with the sword nose has now been totally, and I'm gonna say poorly, replaced with a swimming gimmick. As you roll him back and forth, the tail moves. The faster you go, the faster it moves. So kind of just like the original one, where the faster you would do it, the higher and faster the nose would chop. I don't like this. This is just kind of a stupid gimmick. I mean, the sword nose thing was a cool gimmick, just poorly executed from everything I saw. I never actually owned the thing, but I saw enough to realize it just wasn't done that well. But this is just, I mean, this isn't even an attack. This is just kind of lame. I mean, it's a fish, it swims, okay, but it's supposed to be a giant, powerful robot fish that bites things. That should do more than swim. And as if to neuter it even more, there are no longer torpedoes, which again were poorly executed as I recall, but it's, just, what do you do? It's Bandai America, what do you do? But, not all is lost. The actual toy itself, it looks nice. I like it. It's definitely slimmed down vertically, along with, in the width. It's definitely lower to the ground than Kajiki was, so it doesn't look so odd. It does look a bit more like a fish and less like a fish rolling around on a cart or box with wheels, or however you want to do it. Naturally, like the other two, it does combine with the Samurai Megazord. And this combo, I would say, is probably, again, the most heavily altered. Yeah, the Beetle's whole body became a shield, but this is just fucking weird. I'm not going to really say it any other way. What you do is rip off the head, standard fare, right there. Then we'll take the Samurai Megazord's helmet, fold it up, put it in his leg. Nothing new here. And then with this, here's where the changes begin. Well, no, you fold up the fins. That's normal. Here's where the changes begin. You pull up and out. You pull out the swordfish nose to extend that, and you need to do that because otherwise there's not enough clearance for the Samurai Megazord's head. Here's what I hate here. Originally, the sword would go up into the nose and it would attack with the head. Yeah, stupid, but kind of preferable to this. And the rest of the body became a backpack, which is cool. I can take that. That's actually a good use of it. Here's what you do now. We take off the ape, plug the swordfish on in its place, and then there's a little slot in here, if you can see it, and we just plug the sword into that. So he just has a sword arm now. Why did they do that? It looks nothing. It looks nothing like it does in the show. Which, yeah, they did that with the Beetle too. But the Beetle at least was an original and cool use for the toy. Now we're still just exploiting the sword as really the tie-in gimmick. And here's the pisser: the Kajiki origami did not come with a second katana or any sort of attachment that allowed it to use the double sword mode that it fights with when it has the Kajiki attached. Why didn't they, if they're going to change it, why not change it in a positive way and give us like a second sword and, you know, the hand to hold it? Like, why not, like, instead of just fucking around with this, why not just give us an improvement instead of just this? I mean, this is just, again, this is just lame. He just has like a fish body with a sword sticking out the front as an arm, and it doesn't look good. Is my big problem with it. I mean, things like that have potential, I think, but it doesn't look that great, really. But the figure itself is, you know, fairly good, and you know, what it is, I think it definitely benefits the most from having the little Ranger figure attached, because I think that the Blue Ranger thus far is the best mold of the three, and they do look good together. He does look good riding it. The pose for him, standing by himself, he looks great, I think, but just standing on the fish, he really does actually like add something to it. The other two just kind of sat there. He actually kind of adds something to it, and it works. Because here he is riding this fish. Hey, I'm going to stab you. And then he's on top like, huzzah! I have a sword as well. And, you know, we're coming from up and we're coming from down. It's the end of your day. So, definitely one of those toys where it really only... I mean, the Kajiki was considered the weakest of the origamis in the original toy line, as far as, you know, how good the toy was, not like, you know, power level in the series, but, you know, it was considered just a weak toy, and this carries that on. It's definitely the weakest of the three we've gotten so far, and really, there's not a whole lot of point to owning this unless you also have the Beetle and Tiger so that you can make the Battle Wing formation, which I will get to in another video. So, again, just don't get this unless you're planning to go all out with the combinations in the series. It's really not that worth it on its own. I mean, if you're only going to get one of these things, I would suggest the Tiger more than any of the others. But, I mean, it looks good. It just doesn't do anything cool, really. So, thanks for watching, and have a good one.